make that self-enforcing. And my concern is if we don't, all we're doing is encouraging people. Well, we're not encouraging people, so that's not the right term. We will encounter people that continue to break the speed limit, and it will become an issue for a different way to manage.
Thank you. And so there's no way for this to be done in a way that wouldn't cost a significant amount of money. There's no way that we could just put the speed limits in. Why is it that we can't just put the speed limits in place, just for everyone to understand?
Look, we can reduce the speed limits. It was a simple case. Speed limits are ultimately a traffic regulation order and some signage. We could change that traffic regulation order. Yes, we can change the signage. My concern would be that vehicles would not heed the speed limit. We'd still have issues with vehicles speeding along there, and it becomes an issue of how are we going to prevent or work with our partner authorities, such as the police, to ensure that that speed limit is being adhered to. We do get complaints regards speed on New Bedford Road, like we do on Hatters Way and other similar sort of roads where there's not a lot of things in the road to prevent people from catching up or getting up to a higher speed than what they should be doing.
And the other question, this might not even be relevant to this just in general, the consultation, does that have to happen for every sort of scheme that might be considered to be put in place for this?
So every highway scheme we put in, we do consult with the residents to make sure that they are up to date and on board with what we're doing. It doesn't necessarily mean that we are giving residents an open voice to agree with everything. In reality, we have our statutory duties to road safety to make sure the network is a safe place to be. If we can justify that what we're doing is to make those improvements, then we can overrule objections in relation to that, but they are assessed on a scheme-by-scheme and site-by-site basis based on what objections we get in relation to which schemes. Does that make sense?
Councillor Simmons.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Mark. I understand the difficulties with this one, but if we don't take a decision to reduce it, it won't get on a list anywhere and get done ever. So for me, it's, and I think average speed cameras are a better option, personally, than building out chicanes and the rest of it, because they're an instant stopping of people as soon as they're hit by the bill for speeding. I know that from Pointers Road and how that was an instant stop. So I think, and I appreciate they cost a fair amount of money. I do get that. But for me, I think we should go, paragraph 21 kind of says, if we took the decision to do that, it wouldn't, and I'd have to say to the petitioners, it wouldn't happen immediately. But this is about getting you on the list. Yeah? At the moment, you're not even on the list. And for me, that's the priority for me.
Totally take on board. With regards to sort of being on the list, the petition has put them on the list. There's no concerns there. My concerns, what I'd like to, and what sort of my proposal with 20 is that we monitor the speed down there. Firstly, ascertain what the speed limits are. I've had petitions before where people have requested average speed cameras to come in. When we've gone out and we've done sort of 1 or 2 speed surveys at a location, we've actually found that the 85th percentile speed, which is the speed, as we all know, we used to design for traffic, which is the speed what 85% of the traffic is travelling at or below, has been below the posted speed limit. And therefore, if we were to put average speed cameras in there, although the residents would be satisfied that we've met their demands, the reality is we're not really making an improvement, but we spent a lot of money to do that. And if we're going to sort of spend this sort of money on these sorts of schemes, I'd like to have the evidence data in partnership with the police, either through what they've got with regards to enforcement and when they've undertaken exercises, or from our own survey devices. I'm happy to consider that moving forward as a potential for an average speed camera scheme. Like I said, we've got funding for average speed cameras for the next 3 years to develop a programme around the town. I've got a meeting with Bedfordshire Police in the upcoming week to discuss sites that they think would benefit from these installations, as well as our own data, and of course residents' requests and council requests as well. So it's already on the list. I just think it would be a bit too soon and a bit of a knee-jerk reaction to drop the speed limit without any evidence to support it at the minute. As I said, the accidents that have been recorded on there, although I acknowledge there are some, only 3 of the 22 recorded are as a result of speeding vehicles. So at the minute, there isn't a lot of evidence to suggest that speeding is causing a massive collision problem down there.
Councillor Taylor, and then we can go to Councillor Young.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. It's always used in actual when you do something in all walks of life, and especially projects. You have a cost-benefit analysis. And I can't see what the benefits would be of spending £250,000, which is an estimate anyway. Would it actually achieve? I can't see the benefits of that. As part of the New Bedford Road, I'm certainly aware of the 2 controlled pedestrian crossing points, which are light controlled, mainly for the benefit of the schools in Birdsfoot Lane. But yeah, I have difficulty with this one, but I think if the actual suggestion is the average speed cameras, which wouldn't necessarily require any other street furniture, then I'm happy to go along with that.
Councillor Young?
Just to introduce myself, I'm the local councillor for Birmingham. I'm also a member of Street Watch, and so in fact we, when we're out during the afternoon or the morning, we cross Barton Road quite a few times, and the traffic, you know, I mean, I have no speedometers and things like that, but the perception is that if it's a clear road and if you've got 2.3 kilometres, is that a lot of drivers put their foot down because they're trying to catch up because they've been delayed somewhere, and they find this a fantastic opportunity to get down to the Riddy Lane roundabout in the shortest possible time. And one gets the feeling that sometimes the speed limits are up to 50 or 60 miles an hour. And we've had, you know, you see a car in the distance and you're, you know, crossing over, and you've looked and you feel safe to cross over, even with these unmanned crossing points, is that the perception of the speed that they're coming at you is that when you look round again to make sure you can cross, they're almost on top of you. I mean, it really is bad. And I support the petitioner, is that I think, is Barton Road the only 40-mile-an-hour limit in Luton?
Hatters Way is 40 miles per hour limit, new sections of New Roads are 40 and 60.
Yeah, but Hatters Way is specialised in the sense that it's there's no housing, nothing to my knowledge.
There is a cycle route and a busway there alongside it.
Yeah, but the busway I wouldn't consider as housing, and nobody seems to ever get off. I mean, I go down Hatters Way and actually stick to the 40-mile-an-hour speed limit. Being a councillor, the last thing I want to be is up for speeding, and you know, and you've got a 100-yard gap back of you, and you're doing 40 miles an hour, and in a matter of minutes, there are people up your backside, and they really come in close to push you, to try and push you to go faster, you know, and I just go slower, which annoys them even more. But yeah, I think we have a problem, and I think your idea of doing a survey to find out what the traffic speeds are in that area, not all, you know, not pick some quiet time like, say school holidays, but more in, you know, generally, you know, throughout the day and night, just to see what's happening. Thank you very much.
Okay, if I could just respond, just to be clear in relation to the speed surveys, they're actually conducted 24 hours a day for a period of 7 days. We don't conduct speed surveys in school holidays for the reasons you've just mentioned, and the road traffic volumes are lighter, so any information we get would be a true and accurate reflection of what the road speeds are.
Thank you. I just want to go, Councillor Taylor, you said a suggestion about speed cameras. I didn't catch what you said earlier.
It's already been mentioned before I mentioned it, and if that is the way that you're going to go, if that's the way you're going to go, then I'm happy to go along with it.
Meant that maybe average speed cameras are the solution, not the build out. But I appreciate, Mark, that we need to do more work on the speed limits, although I appreciate what the residents are saying. You need stats that are clear, so I understand that. But I just want to get this on an agenda somewhere, and I know you say it's a petition, we'll get it there, but that is going to be worked on. I suppose that's what I'm saying.
I mean, I could offer you assurance. Obviously, I'm responsible for the programs that we deliver for local safety schemes, speed reduction schemes, that sort of thing. That's literally what my job here entails. I can promise you that this is going to be considered as a scheme moving forward as a priority, but I'm happy to feed back with regards to the lead petitioners and yourselves about what data we have and how this progresses and how we look at prioritising it moving forward compared to other schemes.
Maybe we could have a report back here to in the new administration.
That's fine. I would suggest we probably need a little bit. Well, if we look at all June time, July time, that shouldn't be a problem for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll report back so that the residents understand what's coming.
I'm completely fine with that.
I just want to say to John about Hatters Way, there have been accidents in Hatters Way. I've been caught up in one, and there have been cars breaking through the fence onto the busway, but there's never been to reduce the speed because the 40 mile an hour is consistent with the road.
Okay, so the recommendation put to the council on the first page, number 2, do all members agree to that recommendation, and then we would like a report back to the next meeting or whatever meeting with the results of this that the lead petitioner can attend to?
Can I have clarification on what we're actually voting on? Oh,
So
right.
the recommendation to the first page 9.
Right.
Oh, sorry, no.
Okay.
21? No. It's paragraph 2 on page 9. So it's the council undertakes 3 surveys on Barton Road to ascertain what the 85th percentile speed is and so on. So that's the recommendation. And yes, and then we're going to ask that the officer reports back at the next meeting with the data that we can then think of the next steps. Is that okay? Okay. So the recommendation is the recommendation 2 plus we'd like the officer to report back to the meeting with the results of the recommendation, and then we can go from there. Yep. Do all members Sorry, was that all agreed? Is that agreed?
Well, that's the recommendation, but we'll add the bit in about reporting back to the bottom of that, okay? Yeah.
So just for clarification, the recommendation on that report that Councillor Taylor has just given you, and then we're going to also add an amendment that the officer reports back with the results, and then we can think about the next steps.
Chair, I thought the lead petitioner would get a copy of the report. It used to be. I don't know what's happened.
I've just been advised the lead petitioner was sent a copy of the report. So that's the end of business for this meeting. Thank you all for coming.